Welcome to Potter Revisited, episode 112. I'm Tori.
And I'm Shay.
Today we are covering chapter 14 of Order of the Phoenix, Percy and Padfoot.
Or, as we like to call it, Parentified children and emotionally stunted adults.
Basically, everyone needs therapy.
Everyone needs therapy.
I think that's the theme of basically our entire podcast.
You know, I think Grubbly Plague's doing fine. I think she's, really coped with all of whatever she's been through. She seems pretty okay. I don't know if she needs... Minerva seems kind of okay.
Yep.
If I were to make a list, one day we'll do that. That should be a fun, when a podcast episode's short.
Yeah.
Who's been in therapy, who's currently in therapy, and who needs to be in therapy.
But we open kind of where we left off, where Harry is, he's been tortured by Umbridge. He hasn't told Ron and Hermione, and he's just kind of he really just wants to talk to Sirius because when Umbridge touched him, his scar hurt, and Sirius was the one he went to last time. And he decides, he's going to try and write to Sirius. And so he writes him this kind of really vague letter.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah. So he goes and to mail this off, and he meets Cho in the Owlery, and they have a little moment.
I honestly think Cho is pretty nice.
Yeah, she's very nice.
People hate on her for pretty much no reason. I think just, because it seems like she's, a popular girl. She's on the Quidditch team. A lot of people think she's cool. Someone like Cedric wanted to ask her out.
I think it's very much of its time where love triangles were a big thing in the 90s, early 2000s media. And, just always there had to be a girl that was the bad girl that you didn't want with the main guy, and that she had to be bad. And I just feel that kind of leaked over.
But it's just silly, because she's not. She's kind of, just fine.
She's just there.
There's nothing wrong with Cho Chang. She's nice. She cares about sports. She's respectful to Cedric. She was respectful to Harry about Cedric.
Just living life.
She's really done nothing to... And I'm pretty sure they changed the movie to make her look worse than she is with, stuff that happens later in this book.
Yeah, they kind of make her take the blame for the DEA being found out.
For something that was not her canonically. Either way, though, Cho Chang does nothing wrong.
I just think she's just a very traumatized person who probably liked Harry, but just wasn't in the right mind space for Harry.
Yeah, I think they both,
And not to say Harry probably also wasn't really in the great headspace either. So, you live and you learn.
Yeah.
Harry, is talking to her, and he brings up Ron being the new Gryffindor keeper, and she's the tornado hater, and Ron is now her number one enemy, and it's totally deserved.
Honestly, kind of fair. Also, it's Harry, is really impacted by this conversation with Cho.
Yes.
Not just because she's the pretty girl he likes, but because of Harry and the way he views things, he was really expecting her to hate him. And he left this conversation being shocked that Cho didn't hate him for being alive, basically, which is just such a huge example of Harry's survivor guilt. He really thought she's going to hate me because I'm alive and Cedric's dead. But she doesn't because, she knows Harry didn't kill him. So...
Yeah, I think it's nice that Cho appreciates Harry standing up to Umbridge and for Cedric's memory.
Exactly.
And I just want to say that Umbridge 100% set up Harry with Filch so she could try to read his mail, and it's so shady, so I'm giving her a sucks point for that.
Oh, 100%, yeah. I agree completely. Dung bombs are not really Harry's scene.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to order them in the mail. He could just buy them off of the twins. Pretty sure they've got a supply.
Yeah, so it felt very strange that Filch was coming and accusing him of that, and even Cho thought it was weird, so it's definitely a setup for Umbridge is definitely trying to read his mail.
Oh, for sure.
But going back to Cho and Harry, I feel like it's such an odd dynamic between them because he liked her before, but then she went out with someone else, and then her boyfriend was basically murdered in front of Harry. Harry brought him back and was impacted by that death, like she was in a way, and it's just a lot for both of them to deal with.
And it's tough because, Cho liked Harry when she went out with Cedric.
Yeah.
Is also something that I think we don't often consider.
I don't know if she liked him as much as he liked her like a crush, but I think that she liked him as a person.
Well, when Harry asks her to go to the ball, and she says, no, sorry, I can't. But then she clarifies, she's like, no, Harry, I really am sorry. I think she was hoping Harry was going to ask her. And when Harry did ask her, she was sad that she had already said yes to someone because she, I think, would have liked to go with Harry. And I think having that, at least that's how I've interpreted it, which makes me think that, she's going to feel even guiltier about the Cedric thing because she sort of liked Harry.
I think she liked Cedric more.
Oh, you do?
In my opinion. I just think that I think it was just the social like the social of it all, where she felt bad because Harry, obviously worked up the nerve to talk to her, and she already agreed to go with Cedric, and she just felt bad that, like, he asked her and she was like already committed to someone. But I feel like if she really liked Harry, she probably would have gone with him.
I think she would have said yes to Harry happily and have rather gone with Harry. I think she liked him more than Cedric, but he never asked her out.
I definitely think she would have gone with him if he asked her first, but I feel like she was already committed to Cedric, and I just feel like she didn't quite know Harry as much at that time, and I feel like she probably had more in common with Cedric.
Okay, interesting. I think she liked Harry and more. Like, in my mind, she was more interested in Harry, but Cedric asked her and Harry hadn't yet, and she was like, you know what, I don't want to go to with no one, and he's nice, so sure. And then maybe she started to like him more the more time she spent with Cedric. But I think in the moment when it came to the Yule Ball proposals, she would have been happier to have been asked by Harry, I think. In my mind, that's how I've sort of always seen it, which adds to her guilt about Cedric, because not only did Cedric die and Harry live, but she's going to somehow find a way to blame herself, because that's just how the brain works. Just like Harry thinks she should hate him, she probably thinks...
Yeah, interesting. I always interpreted Cho liking Cedric more, and then she feels guilty here because she's getting close to Harry and she does develop real feelings for him. But it's also she feels guilty because of Cedric and like how Cedric died. Harry was the one to see him, and she feels guilty for liking Harry now after being with Cedric, and it feels almost like a betrayal to him.
Yeah, who did you think she really wanted to go to the ball with?
Ooh, interesting. Let us know what you think about Cho, Cedric, and Harry.
I love when we have different takes on something. That's so fun.
Yeah. Always interesting.
Love that.
Usually it's just Snape.
Usually it's just Snape.
Yeah. But we go to Ron and Harry and Quidditch, where they're going to have their tryout, and Ron wants Harry to come out with him and like help him practice and stuff. And I just really hope Ron can have more confidence playing Quidditch. And it's good that Harry's going with him because, he can be himself with Harry.
Yeah.
But just knowing how it goes, I feel so bad for Ron.
Yeah. The guy kind of can't catch a break right now. Even the good things he gets aren't easy,
Yeah.
Poor Ron.
But we learned that Sirius has been found out through the Daily Prophet Hermione gets, where it's been, a source has told the Daily Prophet that Sirius Black is in London. And Sirius really needs to be more careful.
He is not careful.
He doesn't care.
It's brutal.
But yeah, Harry's now very stressed about that.
Which is totally fair, because even though Harry is a 15-year-old boy, he is more capable of understanding consequences than Sirius Black, a grown-ass man.
Yep, but there's also a foreshadowing hint about the Department of Mysteries, as Sturgis Podmore, an Order member, has been arrested for trying to... They don't say breaking into the Department of Mysteries, but they say trying to break into a secure location, which we learn is the Department of Mysteries. But a little foreshadowing there.
I think Ron is so incredibly smart here.
Yeah.
Like, in a way that is not usual. Like, he really catches on that the Ministry wants the Order and Team Harry to sort of look bad. And he catches on that the government would be willing to conspire against them in the case of, like, Podmore's arrest. Like, that really is... I mean, Hermione is clearly very, very proud of Ron's critical thinking in this moment. But it's just really nice to see that he, like... Because it seems like he's not paying attention a lot. Like, Hermione's going on about, like, oh, the newspaper says the Ministry's interfering at Hogwarts and this and that. And sometimes it feels like Ron's not listening. But he is actually kind of listening and absorbing. And in this moment, he's like, well, yeah, I guess this and this. And Hermione's like, I didn't even have to draw that. She didn't have to draw the conclusion for them and let it sink in. Ron got there all by himself. And she's like, oh, yay. There, he's growing. He's learning.
Yeah, it's good for Ron. He's really picking up on it and how, like, the government doesn't really need a reason to do stuff now. They're just going to do it.
Critical thinking skills are growing, and we're proud to see it.
So we're going into this Gryffindor Quidditch practice, and I kind of hate that Fred and George are still teasing Ron. Like, I feel like they probably know from Angelina that Ron has some confidence issues, and I would hope that they could put aside, Ron being prefect and everything, and, try and, like, lift him up before the practice.
Yeah, it would be nice if they could, like, get their shit together and make Quidditch easier for him.
But I get that their way of dealing with things is they want to crack a joke or tease him. So that's just what they do. But it would have been nice, I think, maybe helped Ron out a bit more with his practice because it's his first one. He's already very insecure about it. I think also having Fred and George on the team is also another kind of hurdle because he looks up to Fred and George and he wants them to see him as good too. And he doesn't want to let them down as well.
I wonder if it's a bit, like... I obviously want Ron on the team, and I think it's great, and I wish the twins would support him. But if we look at it from the twins' perspective, maybe it's kind of annoying that their brother's on the team.
Yeah.
They're like, oh God, like, this is the one thing, of all the things we do, most of them, our parents don't approve. But, like, probably playing Quidditch and being on the team is something both their parents are proud of. And they're like, now Ron has this thing that we had, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not that. So when they come out to cheer for us at Quidditch games, they're also cheering for Ron. And then also Ron is now a prefect. So they're probably like, oh great, Ron's gonna narc on us if we're too funny at practice, if we say bad words, if we, you know, throw a quaffle at him too hard. We're gonna have to deal with prefect Ron.
Yeah.
You know, like tattling. Like, I can understand it would be like, even though Ron is very close in age to them and very similar to them in some ways, it's like, oh great, now our little brother's following us along too. Like, I can see how as a teenager that's just annoying.
But the Quidditch practice is not going to go smoothly because, of course, Malfoy and co. have nothing better to do than harass the Gryffindor Quidditch team. So they're sitting out in the stands, yelling stuff at them.
Yeah, all kinds of things, including specifically saying that Angelina's hair looks like worms.
Ew, yeah.
And you just gotta stop and think, wow, look at the diversity of the racism coming from these Slytherins. You know, they're not only racist against Muggleborns, but they have the good old vintage human racism. Pansy's, like, directly calling out a woman of color for her braids. And it's like, it's frustrating, kind of, because, like, I think it's important that there's representation of racism in the book because it's a real thing and it's important to address it in kids' books and stuff like this. But they covered that already, and I think it's kind of sad. Like, they covered it with, like, the Muggleborns, pureblood stuff.
Yeah.
And it's, like, makes it less of a safe space for some kids who are reading this book, maybe, to be like, oh, like, maybe they see themselves in it and they're like, oh, I've had people make fun of my hair. But also it feels kind of like, why did you have to use that real, very prominent racism when you've already sort of invented something to cover that in the book?
Yeah, when you go in to read a book like for escapism and you're like, oh, this is something I've been called or something that's happened to me and I wanted to get away from that. Yeah,
I just don't think it was necessary. And, like, obviously they're terrible villains. Like, Pansy is the absolute worst and I despise her. But I just think, like, they were jerks across already. It just seems rough to, I don't know, bring actual real life racism into the book like this, and just casually and quickly, as if it's just the same thing as making fun of Harry for wearing glasses when it's not. It's a very different thing, you know?
Yeah, I find this whole Quidditch practice gives me, like, PTSD of gym class growing up because I am not athletically inclined and I always had such anxiety about, like, letting my team down or being the reason they lost a game.
That's the worst.
And I would purposely try to get out because I could not deal with, like, the idea that I'd be, like, the last one standing in dodgeball or whatever. Yeah. So this whole practice really just, like, reminds me of, like, the anxiety of gym class.
I just can't believe the Slytherins found time out of their day to go and watch a practice for the other team.
Yeah, they honestly have nothing better to do.
Jesus, get a hobby besides racism.
This is Malfoy's hobby. It's just bothering Harry.
You know, Taylor Swift has a song for this. About people spending all their time obsessing over her. It's actually kind of romantic, Draco.
So romantic. Now I'm gonna have to make, like, a TikTok of Draco and Harry to actually romantic.
Good. The things I force you into.
But during the practice, a lot of crazy stuff happens. Ron is not performing to what he would like to.
Yeah.
And he accidentally throws a ball into Katie's face, which I think, like, gives her bloody nose. And Fred and George, to help, decide we're going to give her our antidote to our, like, what is it?
Nosebleed nougat.
And, of course, they give her the wrong one. And I'm just like, they need to be more careful with their products because poor Katie here is now, like, losing blood and, like, all pale.
She's been through enough.
She didn't ask for this.
No.
So the practice ends on a pretty sour note, and Ron's pretty grumpy about it.
Fair. Very fair. Poor Ron. Poor everybody. It's rough.
You know, it's bad when Ron's like, I don't want to talk about this. I want to do my homework.
Yeah.
Their homework is interrupted because Hermione sees Hermes, Percy's owl, at their dormitory common room window. And Percy has written Ron a letter to congratulate him on being made prefect. But this whole letter is just a whole can of worms in itself.
It's brutal. But first of all, it's nice of Percy to congratulate Ron.
Yeah.
If we just take the first few sentences of his letter, it's nice that someone was proud of Ron, even if it's Percy, who Ron wants nothing to do with. Then, if you continue through the letter, Percy just sucks here. He sucks here more than he kind of sucks anywhere.
Yeah, it's so bad.
He's so blinded by what he wants to be the truth, which is the ministry's side of things.
Yes.
And he's so indoctrinated in that propaganda that, like, he really thinks Harry's a liar and Ron needs to remove himself from that friendship for his own well-being. And it's just like, that ain't it, Percy.
Yeah, the whole letter seems like a ploy to me. I feel like it seems so odd that Percy would send this letter so it goes to the common room rather than when you usually get mail in the Great Hall. And it's just too pointed about cutting ties with Harry. They just obviously know that Ron is close to Harry, and I feel like they're trying to use that to get information.
Okay, I mean, I see it maybe as wanting to get information, but I don't know how much the ministry gives a shit about Ron. Like, I think maybe they talk a lot to Percy about, like, it'd be good if we had inside information on Harry and this and that. But I genuinely think there's a part of Percy that, like, wants to have, like, who loves having a family and having a support system, and saw Ron being a prefect as being like, maybe Ron is the member of the family who can be on my side. Like, maybe there's a part of him that really, really wants someone to be on his side, and he's hoping he's gonna, he's like, I'm gonna help Ron be on the right path and make the right choices for himself, and he's gonna, like, appreciate me caring about him, but also he's gonna support me because my family isn't supporting me right now. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's a part of him that, like, isn't doing it because the ministry wants Ron to do things. It's doing it because he wants someone on his side, and he thinks he's looking out for Ron.
I could see him wanting someone on his side. I just feel like it feels too pointed about, he has a line mentioning that, oh, you need to go talk to Umbridge if you have any, thoughts about Harry and stuff like that, because she's your friend and she's here to help you.
Oh, that's for sure something he's been spoon-fed hearing around him. Everyone's like, oh, all the Hogwarts students should tell Umbridge. We should see who we can get to spy on Harry for Umbridge. But, like, I genuinely think Percy's number one motivation of this letter is, like, to try and get Ron to be on his side and to help Ron, steer Ron in what he thinks is the right direction, Yeah,
it's just such an odd letter, because I think the letter really shows how Percy has chosen his career and ambition over his family and values, and Percy kind of brushes off the estrangement with his parents. It makes it seem like they're not even really estranged, that they just had a disagreement, and, like, he makes it seem like he's still in contact with Molly. He's like, oh, if you write to Mother, tell her this. And it's like, you haven't spoken to your parents in, like, 5 months or whatever, and you had a huge fight, but he makes it seem like it's just, like, a really minor thing.
I mean, I think Percy's really impacted by, like, perception, so he doesn't want to admit to something being messy family drama. He wants to be like, it's a slight familial disagreement.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like, he's very public-facing, so I think he's trying to refer to things in the most public-facing way.
Nice and tidy. Maybe he's trying to, like, compartmentalize it, too, being like, this is just a minor thing, and I will be proven right, so it's fine.
So I hate Percy in this moment. I hate that he's trying to turn Ron against Harry. I hate that he's blindly believing the propaganda.
Yeah.
But I also can understand that, like, if Percy actually truly believes the ministry, like, if he really thinks that, then he is doing what we would want a character to do, which is stand up for what they believe in and, like, reach out to family members and, like, just tell them, I still care about you and think about you, and I'm worried about the situation you're in, and if you become worried about it, these are some steps you can take to get back on the right path. Like, we don't agree with the side he's on, and I don't love how he's treating his parents and his family, and I don't love what this does to Harry, but if we can put ourselves in the shoes of, like, imagining we actually really believe what's going on, and we believe that Harry is a risk to Ron and making things up, and we believe that this is a big conspiracy against the ministry, I can understand why he'd be like, you know what? I want my brother, who, from what he heard about the prefect thing, might be trying to, like, get his life together and be responsible. I want him to know what's going on. I want him informed in what's going on. And Percy's wrong because he doesn't know what's going on, but he thinks he does. And, like, I don't hate the choice to reach out to someone you care about if you think they're in a tough situation and you have information that can help them.
Yeah. But realistically, this is such a kind of like a shitty letter, especially for Harry.
Absolutely.
He sees how hard Percy is trying to convince his best friend to cut ties with him, and he's been so close with Percy and his family the last 4 years. So it has to be such like a gut punch to see this person that you've been around for so long and spent like a lot of quality time with being like, actually, that guy's crazy, you gotta cut him off.
I mean, I don't think Harry ever really liked Percy that much.
Well, like, I feel like he liked him and the fact that he was a Weasley and stuff. He found found him a bit pompous and not really his type of person, but like he probably liked him the least, I think, of all the brothers, but he was still someone that was like, you know, nice to him.
I mean, we all like him the least of all the brother.
Yeah.
Percy does so many frustrating things that it's just like, Percy, why are you behaving like this?
Yes.
But I think it's just like the way the Weasleys are portrayed makes it so much easier to hate anyone who differs from them in opinion, you know? And like, even if Percy wasn't on the wrong side of this issue, being Percy in the Weasley family wouldn't be easy, you know?
Yeah, he's kind of like the black sheep of the family.
Yeah.
Like, I know Fred and George see them that way, but I feel like it's definitely more Percy.
Absolutely, because most of the people appreciate what Fred and George do. Like, they think it's funny, they think they're cool.
But Harry is very, like, kind of hurt by this letter, but he kind of jokes it off and is like, okay, Ron, you want to, you know, cut ties with me? It's fine. I won't hit you. And Ron's just like, he's so over Percy and everything.
Oh, come off it, Harry. Like,
yeah, he rips up the letter and he's like, he's a huge prat. Like, what the fuck is up with him? The big thing is, though, Percy is hinting that there's going to be a big change coming the next morning with Umbridge. So we'll see how that ends in the next chapter. But some very spooky foreshadowing.
I just want to say, as a Slytherin who thinks in a Slytherin way, if I were in Ron's position, but Ron doesn't really have that kind of mind. If I were Hermione in this situation, but a Slytherin, basically Percy has told them that the Ministry wants information on Harry, and they're going to happily accept information from Harry's friends fed to them through Dolores Umbridge. I feel like they could be using this. Like, they could be using it to figure out what the Ministry wants to know about Harry. They could be using this, like, if Ron pretended to take Percy's advice and eventually go to Umbridge about something small Harry's doing wrong, with Harry fully aware of part of the plan, just to see, like, what the end goal is. Is it to make Harry look crazy? Is it to make him look bad? Like, there's so many ways that they could use Ron as an inside man on, like, the Inquisitorial Squad or something. Like, it's just an option that I feel like the Slytherin in me is like, we could probably use Percy having slipped and given them information trying to help Ron to actually help Harry. But they're just like, wow, what a prat. Anyhow.
Yeah, I feel like that's just the Gryffindor mindset, is like their principals wouldn't even allow them to go to Umbridge.
Pretend.
Yeah, they can't even pretend.
I could pretend. I think I could, like, I could pretend long enough to, like, know. Because then you know who her other spies are.
Get some intel.
Then you can know, like, there's so many bits of information you can use wisely. But they're just like, nope, carry on. Just a bunch of Gryffindors in a Gryffindor.
This moment is interrupted because Sirius's face appears in the fire.
Totally safe, not at all high risk.
But before this, Harry's feeling sad, and he feels that Sirius is the only one that he can relate to, and Sirius is still, like, you know, dealing with no one believing he's innocent. But Sirius appears in the fire and is basically, you know, giving them some intel, and apparently Umbridge is using her position in the Ministry to, you know, target humanoid beings like werewolves, centaurs, etc.
She's a monster.
And she's just trying to basically, like, limit their
rights.
Yeah, their rights, basically. So I'm giving her a sucks point for that, for being, like, you know, a gross, terrible human being.
Yeah, encouraging systematic and governmental racism.
Yeah, and targeting poor Lupin. What has he done to deserve this? Nothing.
Literally nothing but be so tired. Like, that's it. He's just so tired.
I feel like the biggest thing that happens is they tell him that they're not learning any magic in Defense Against the Dark Arts. And then Sirius is like, well, that's because Fudge thinks that you're going to be trained in combat.
I mean, they fucking should be trained in combat.
Because so Fudge, is he just, like, stupid or paranoid for thinking Dumbledore is training students for an army? I mean, low-key, I could see Dumbledore doing this.
Yep, mm-hmm.
But I feel like it's just, like, a huge leap for Fudge being like, he's training an army of minors. I'm scared.
I think he's just so insecure with his position. He's like, okay, I've won the, like, PR battle, but if it comes to a physical battle, he's, like, trying to take tally of who's on whose side. And he's like, okay, well, I have these people in the Ministry, and I have these people. Who does Dumbledore have? And there's probably some high-up wizards Dumbledore has. And he's like, oh, shit, he has a whole school full of children who do what he says. So, like, it's silly and ridiculous, but, like, I can totally see how Fudge, who's so afraid and so focused on maintaining power, would see anyone that could be swayed by Dumbledore as a threat, including a bunch of full-on children.
Looky, I just think I'd be so pissed if I was a student, you know, working towards my dream career, gonna write my exams, and the Prime Minister prevented me from learning what I need for my exams because he thought I was being trained for a secret army.
God damn it, Carney.
Let me live my life.
Want to do the magics.
Yeah, Sirius is here just, has no thoughts of self-preservation. They bring up him being found out about being in London. He's just like, yeah, whatever. Shit happens.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna come visit you, Harry, in Hogsmeade. And they're like, no, you aren't.
Oh, it stresses me out so much.
Oh my god, I can't stand him. And then, basically what Sirius is doing here is filling in for the void that Hagrid left by just giving kids a bunch of information that should absolutely just be going to adults.
Yeah, but unlike Hagrid, it's, on purpose. Hagrid's usually, by accident.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I shouldn't have told you that. Please forget that. And Sirius is like, yeah, here's all this shit. Do with it what you will.
Yeah, the thing with Hagrid being missing, right? It's like, yeah, we need another, plot device to give the kids adult information. Okay, great. We'll just have Sirius do it. Sirius is such a teenager.
Sirius is like, yeah, I'll come see you guys. And when Harry disagrees, no, they know that you're in London. That's a huge risk. Don't do it. He's like, ugh, why aren't you like your father? Be like your father, Harry.
He's like, what he says is you're less like your father than I thought.
Harry's not James.
Which is disgusting. Sirius here is being such a dick to Harry by saying he's less like his dad, but also, Harry's just actually looking out for Sirius. And I feel like the issue here is that Harry didn't really have the luxury of just messing around and being reckless, because a lot of Harry's decisions have been life or death adult situations. But James got to be a teenager.
Yeah.
He got to make dumb choices and mess around without having the responsibility that Harry's had since age 11. You know what I mean? And so basically Harry needs to be the adult in this situation because he's been in adult situations. And Sirius is so emotionally stunted and stuck as a teenager that he can't handle the consequences of if he is reckless. Meanwhile, Harry's constantly aware of the consequences of if he's reckless. It's just such an example of parentified children and emotionally stunted adults just all over this book.
Yeah. It's just, I get where Sirius comes from because he's just very lonely and has nothing to do, but he's just, he just can't, he's just so emotionally stunted that he, it manifests in such, annoying and frustrating ways. I think Sirius really remembers an ideal version of James, because I'm sure when James was, a teenager with him messing around, it was really fun, but also we gotta think that they joined the Order basically right out of school, so I'm sure when James was in the Order, married to Lily and, becoming a father during war times, he was a lot more practical and focused on protecting his family than, doing stupid shit with Sirius. But I feel like Sirius kind of ignores that and just remembers, James at 15, 16 and all the stupid shit they did at Hogwarts. And I'm like, well, that was James at the moment, but that's not what James was.
Yeah, I think Sirius knew James for, 7 years at Hogwarts, plus I guess they got married and had kids really young, the 4 years after Hogwarts, basically. And most of that time, James wasn't married and didn't have a child. So I think just the version of James he remembers, not necessarily idealized so much as the version of him he knew the longest was the fun, reckless teenager James who didn't have any responsibilities, Yeah,
but it's definitely annoying Harry being compared to his father, especially because Harry still looks up to his father or the version of his father he imagines so much.
He always takes it as a compliment when people compare him to his father, and so for someone to say that,
yeah, and then Sirius being like, oh, you're not like your father at all.
It's a low blow. It's a fucking low blow.
Yeah, but they basically tell Sirius, no, don't do any silly shenanigans, and Sirius is all kind of fed up with them, so he leaves, but...
He's like, oh, but I want to risk my life just to hang out. And Harry's like, no, maybe don't. And he's like, oh, you're the worst.
Yeah, it basically is Harry's parenting him.
Yeah.
They didn't really play this in the movies. I think Gary Oldman really played Sirius as definitely older and more, put together.
Older, wiser, yeah.
Yeah, but it's definitely frustrating when I see these things where I'm yeah, Sirius was really emotionally stunted. So thank you for listening to this episode of Potter Revisited, and we'll be back next time to cover Chapter 15 of Order of the Phoenix, the Hogwarts High Inquisitor. If you like this episode, remember to follow us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify or wherever else you listen to podcasts. Reach out to us on social media at Potter Revisited, or you can email us at potterrevisitedpodcast@gmail.com, and we will see you next time.
Bye!